Welcome to Trails and Tales of Georgia Barbecue, a series of many documentaries on the history and people who show how Georgia barbecue is an integral part of the state's culture and traditions. In this episode, we visit Smokey's Barbecue, located in Garden City, just outside Savannah in coastal Georgia. The city of Savannah and the surrounding area boasts a rich and culturally diverse history. This area was the ancestral home of indigenous Wallay and Creek peoples for hundreds of years prior to becoming the cornerstone of the British Empire's Georgia colony in 1733. In the early days, colonists in Savannah depended on one particular family, the Musgroves, for the success of the settlement. The Musgroves established a trading post that served as a vital link between the colonists and local indigenous peoples. As a mixed-race woman of Creek and English heritage, Mary Musgrove proved an early, persistent, yet ultimately rare example of independent womanhood in the predominantly patriarchal society of colonial Georgia. Musgrove served as an interpreter, trader, diplomat, and politician during the colony's formative years, even though these activities were widely considered men's work. Despite the complexities of her life and her contested legacy in historical memory, Musgrove has been an inspiration for many generations of Georgia women who defied patriarchal norms. The site of Mary Musgrove's trading post now sits beneath the docks of the Georgia Port Authority along the banks of the Savannah River, just a few miles from another independent woman carrying on Musgrove's entrepreneurial spirit in the modern era. Tammy Woodard, pitmaster and proprietor of Smokey's Barbecue in Garden City, Georgia. The world of Southern barbecue has traditionally been an overwhelmingly male realm. As a result, barbecue culture has reflected the patriarchal power within Southern society for much of the region's history. It is this history and its legacies, and the popular cultural assumptions and expectations that come with it, that Tammy Woodard defies every day at Smokey's Barbecue. In the beginning, though, her story also took root in more typical patriarchal norms. Her father, Edward McCall Jr., also known as Smokey, opened Smokey's Barbecue in the 1990s, while Tammy achieved success in the restaurant industry in the Midwest. Eventually, Smokey sought to retire from the business of barbecue, and Tammy quickly emerged as the prime candidate to keep Smokey's franchise in the family, keeping the coals burning.
It was 1995. Well, I had a limousine service from the airport, and I was riding by this place here. I had to get someplace between the airport, downtown, and the airport. So what I did is I saw this place, so I acquired it. And then once I got in it, and I had the transportation service running back and forth from here at the midway point, I said I decided that I was going to try to, always wanted to have a little barbecue place. So I set it up and started selling barbecue out of it. I got tired of working. She was in and out, I was in and out. I had leased it out to a few other people in between times when I got tired and wanted to do something else, and it didn't work out with these other folks. So she came back at one point, and I and my wife, we was all here working together. So when she came back the last time, I just said, you're back. Would you just like to outright just take over completely? And she agreed, and that's what happened, where she took over. She's doing fine.
Do you follow all your recipes?
No. They never do. I mean, it's very, like the day we was out there, we was building the fire. I shut the doors, she came out, she opened them back up. People have their own, anytime anybody's doing barbecue, they have their own techniques about how they want to do it.
But initially you trained, right?
Oh, I trained her, but it's all good. I'm glad she's doing well though.
I was here with him, working the business with all of our family, my brothers, my stepmom, and everybody that was here. My brothers were in college, and nobody else really wanted to do the restaurant. But seeing that I basically cooked all my life. I learned how to cook when I was 4 years old. When my dad was like, well, I want to sell the building, and I was like, okay. I never thought that I would want to be a business owner. I was fine working for other people. I didn't have a problem with that. I don't mind being in the background. just one day he came to me and just asked me, would you want to buy the building from me? And you know, I always discuss everything with my husband. I never just make a decision, and we pray about it. I talked to him, and my husband, I said, well, I've been praying about this thing here, and I said, the Lord hasn't given me anything. I said, has he said anything to you? He said, yeah. He grudgingly said, yeah, Smokey's. I said, oh, really? So we ended up coming over here about 2001. That's when I entered into Smokey's BBQ, and I was renting this building from my dad. And I did that for about 8 years, and then I left for about 4 or 5 years. And I've only been back now about 4 years in. And so I've had it 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years in this myself. But the past 4 years ago is when I actually bought the building. You know what? I want to say you have to have a love for cooking. You have to have a love. But for me, I think it is just something that I do. It's just something that I do. And I believe more so that this is more of a calling on my life than it is me just being the favorite barbecue lady.
Tammy's father baptized her into the barbecue business as she learned her way around the pit under his tutelage and eventually purchased Smokey's from him. She continues to pay homage to his legacy by upholding the standards he set for making great barbecue. Ever since those first baptisms by fire, though, Tammy has made Smokey's her place. She has developed her own unique method of preparing and cooking the meat and created the recipes for the sides that she serves with the barbecue. Most importantly, Tammy's effervescent personality and her desire to welcome everyone to her place make Smokey's BBQ feel like home. Despite her passion for her work and the people she works with, she has faced some obstacles along the way. But in honoring tradition while making her own mark, she has consistently proven the naysayers wrong and has done so with a genuine smile of appreciation on her face and in her heart.
Now, them being intimidated by me, there are some guys that do have they have little shacks. That's what they call them down here. I'm not a shack, I'm a shack-a. I'm a shack-a. So, and we are more of a restaurant than we are just a shack where you just pick up ribs or chicken or something and go. So you can actually sit in, take out here and eat and go from there. But the guys, when I first came back 4 years ago, they were so upset with me. They were mad. And I had one guy was down the street who actually used to rent the building from my dad. And I went down, when I came back, he cussed us out. He used to cuss us so bad. Like, she took my customers. And I was like, how? Here lately, I've had a gentleman came in the other day and he was like, you have some competition. And I said, no, I don't have any competition. He was like, well, there's some guys downtown that's got this barbecue restaurant. I said, oh, I know who you're talking about. I said, I'm gonna go visit them. I said, but they're not my competition. I said, I'm not in competition with anybody. I said, if that's the case, I'm in competition with Burger King, McDonald's, Ruth Chris, Chart House, everybody that sells food that I'm in competition. I said, but as far as barbecue is concerned, I said, I let everything in here speak for itself. I'm not the one to brag on myself or anything, you know, I'm real outgoing, but I think when I get to talk about myself, I'm like,
Ticket number 36. She left.
I heard.
She needed what's your name on her, don't she?
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that right there. You was at the season prize.
Damn. Oh, yeah.
Tammy's hard work and positive attitude speaks for itself through her barbecue. Her diligence and care, from preparing food hours before opening her doors to serving it to the constant stream of customers who pass through those doors, finds confirmation in the faces of her customers time and time again.
The best barbecue in the city. You doing pretty good with it? Yeah. Well, I'm a real connoisseur. I'm from Memphis, so I know good barbecue. Yeah. And this right here, hey,
Stacks up.
it stacks up.
well, our barbecue is cooked on a closed pit, smoked with wood. We use only wood, pecan and oak. I had a gentleman come the other day and just gave me some wood, and it's hickory out there, those big chunks of hickory. It's not the Louisiana or Kansas style barbecue. I don't do the rub. It's just a I don't really know what you call it here. Just, let the smoke do the business.
Rice, red rice. These are gonna be eggs. This is potato salad. I like the baked beans. That's my favorite. But we don't have a side that isn't popular.
Everything sells. Everything sells.
Tammy's customers come seeking a plate full of barbecue, but more often than not, they leave having received much, much more. Tammy considers Smokey's as her church, and her work there is her ministry. Her regular customers have clearly ordained her through their faithful support, and she is clearly humbled and grateful for everyone who enters her sanctuary. From first-time customers taking their first rites of communion at her table to regular customers, all keep coming back for more of her delicious barbecue, fellowship, and even counseling.
This is more my pulpit. I don't have to go into the church building with the church walls. My ministry is more so here, and some people would never go into the church. When people come here, I'm hoping that they get good food because that's what draws them in. You know, when you see a need, feel a need. So I'm feeding people, but when they get in here, whether I'm out here talking to them or not, I may have the TV on a radio station or something and it's playing gospel music. I had a whole group one time came in and they was like, oh, it was some white guy. Have you ever heard of this elevation and this? And I was like, yes! And we was in here real loud and acting up. It was a whole worship service and one of the guys he's like, oh, he's kind of conservative. He said, oh, he sat back and I think I've had more of the Holy Ghost here than I've ever had at church. So that kind of tickled me. And so I was just like, this is why I'm here. And that's what keeps me here. To see people's lives change, even when you don't know that you've made an impact, you're making an impact.
Tammy's loyal customers believe in what she's doing and how she's doing it. None more so than Staff Sergeant Kevin Brown. A Savannah area native, now serving in the U.S. Army as a recruiting officer in Pooler, Georgia, Sergeant Brown has become a Smokey's disciple, spreading the good news about the superb barbecue and equally fulfilling mentorship and guidance he receives from Tammy within the friendly confines of Smokey's Barbecue.
I love this place. Outstanding. I drive probably about 15 miles past several other barbecue places to get to this place. I'm a brisket guy. I probably could eat barbecue maybe 3 times a week if I can afford it. I'm a military police and I was in this area getting some equipment for one of our patrol cars. And it was lunchtime and I was hungry waiting on the car. And I walked over, I smelled it across the street. And of course, me being a barbecue person, had to come and try it out. 6 years later, I'm trying it out again every day. I'm trying it out almost every once a week. She's outstanding. Somebody that can make barbecue and mentor you in the same building, I'm all about it. Probably go put a couple pounds on me, but I come and sometimes we talk, we pray together. She gives me like some inspiration sometimes with some of my daily duties of things that we go through as in life. She's a very grounded person, and she keeps me grounded sometimes. If I'm wrong, I best believe she's gonna tell me. So I have to watch carefully what I say. She's not gonna cuddle me if I'm wrong, and she tells me when I'm right and prays with me afterwards. And then she gives me a brisket sandwich. So.
The COVID-19 pandemic beset the restaurant industry from its beginning in 2020. Initially, the pandemic plagued restaurants by preventing their customers from dining out, forcing restaurant managers to quickly pivot their operations to carry out only. But as COVID concerns lessened and customers returned, The challenges presented to the restaurant industry did not cease. Through 2021, many restaurants faced rising production costs due to supply chain interruptions and shortages. For 2 years, these challenges plagued the entire industry, and Tammy Woodward experienced all of it as she fought to keep Smokey's in business.
Everybody was closing down, and I just basically stayed open. I stayed open full because at one point the state completely shut down, but everybody still wanted to eat. They were going out buying all of the groceries, they were going out doing all that. I was like, well, what is that? Everybody's buying groceries, but they're still coming out to eat. I said, so I need to stay open. I have a mortgage here. So with that said, I said, I'm gonna stay open. So we stayed open, and we did all of the CDC things that we were supposed to do to make sure that we were safe, and anybody that came in, I wanted them to be safe. And you could still sit in and eat. But then, I think about a year and a half in, or a year or so in, when they started opening back up, and I had groups of people coming in, and it was like, oh, we're free. And I was like, no, you're not. We're still in the midst of, as of right now, I still feel like we're still in the midst of COVID. But when everything opened back up, I shut down. And what I mean by I partially shut down, I put a table at my door, and you had to order from the door, and we was getting it together like that, and it was just takeout only. And that went on for a little while. That's how I survived. What works for me to keep my food costs down, instead of ordering from the U.S. Foods and the Costco's and all the name brand places that would deliver your food and whatnot, I just go shopping daily. I go shopping daily, and I'll see what I need and what'll get me through the day. As far as like 32-ounce cups and stuff like that, you can't find them anywhere. They have gone from like $35 up to $100. They've tripled. And so we're just using what works. So instead of a 32-ounce cup, my customer said, just give me something to drink and a cup of ice, and we'll be good to go.
At the end of the day, Tammy is surrounded by family at Smokey's, whether blood relations or customers and coworkers who have become part of her extended barbecue family circle. William, Tommy, Morris is all of the above, having previously worked with Tammy and her daughter at Smokey's, often while his children, Tammy's grandchildren, laugh and play at a side table nearby. Tommy regularly partakes of the Q as well. His experiences at Smokey's embody the family atmosphere that Tammy herself credits for her success. Smokey's began as a family business, and family remains first and foremost in everything she does.
I've been in culinary for about 15 years or so. Actually became a part of Smokey's by dating Miss Tammy's daughter. And we had a couple children, and they just adopted me into the family. Wonderful family to be adopted into. And hey, with my culinary background, I can come and help Smokey's every now and then. Might, give her a couple recipes. She gives me a couple recipes. And hey, we're here today. She has the right stuff, yeah. She has the right stuff. Most of the men in my family, they cook, and barbecue is always a big thing. Well, Miss Tammy's barbecue is just something about it, something different, Do
you think it's a woman's touch?
It might exactly be a woman's touch, yeah. Honestly, it's a big thing, they've been doing it for so long. It's been passed down from generation to generation, taught from father to child, mother to child, and just hopefully we just keep it going. My children already know how to throw some meat on the smoker, yeah.
I learned how to cook when I was 4 years old, which was my grandparents' neighbors. When we would have barbecues growing up, I would just take over. And it was a family thing, family getting together and having fun, playing cards, kids running around, acting up. And that was my heart. That was my heart.
For Tammy, that family tradition is the heart and soul of Smokey's, and one day she hopes to pass that tradition down to her son and daughter and their children. She is already teaching them how to keep the flame her father started and she continues to fan. What better way to ensure that the light of her and her father's legacy continues to burn brightly for future generations than by keeping it in the family?
I would love to pass it on to my oldest. Then from there, my oldest grandson, we'll bring him in here and he'll take orders and make an order. We introduce them to come and make an order and you get paid. So he got the concept of it. And so he's like, Nana, every weekend, can I come to work? Can I go to work? So yes, you go to work.